Child, sometimes you gotta fix your things. All right. Child, it's cold. I don't. What up, Search fam? Sade here. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Sade. I'm out here curating and co-creating a cool-ass life. And y'all know by now that includes now my reading. And listen, October was busy. November, I don't know what happened to November, if we're quite honest. But we're here with a reading wrap-up for October and November. Now, here's the thing. October and November felt like hard reading months for me, right? Like, I just felt like I ain't read that much. But then I checked my story graph. The lie detector determined that was a lie. So we gonna go through, as per usual. You already know we're gonna start with the physical books, and then we're gonna go through the audio and the digital books. Now, let's see, here we go. So we'll just start with the stats. For the month of October, I read 15 books, supposedly. Like I said, I don't believe them. I don't believe what Storygraph is telling me, because I've been in a bit of a reading funk, and like things have not been like exciting. So I've been finding it harder to get through my books. But I have found that I've been reading a lot more audiobooks, and mostly, you know, during my workouts, but also other times because I've been trying to get through, because I've been reading some longer ones. But neither here nor there. We're fine. In November, I read 12 books. Okay. So, boom. And I'm starting to include, I'm trying to, in my story graph this year, include a lot more of the books that I'm reading that are nonfiction, as well as like work-related books. So books I'm reading for my research and whatnot. But it gets unwieldy because I read, like y'all know at this point, I read a lot. I'm going to just let y'all know what we had read. Because some of the books I had to take back to the library, because y'all know I'm a library girly, so I had to take some of them back. All right, so I read The Dead Cat Tail Assassin by P. Dejeli Clark. And this is a P. Dejeli Clark stan account, okay? Because anything he writes, I'm probably going to read it. And I love that he writes novellas and that they get published, and like goals, right? So this one I bought sight unseen. Well, I didn't really read the synopsis. I just said, put it in the cart, send it to me right now. And this was so interesting. It was really good. It's about a league of assassins that they come into being because they sign contracts as they're dying, right? And so they come back from the dead, and they usually resurrect them after their families and people that know them have died. And they take these contracts, and sometimes they're anonymous contracts. So Aveen, who's the main character, is one of these what are called dead cattail assassins. And she is on a normal, what she thinks is a normal job, a normal assassination. Come to find out, she can't assassinate the person that she was supposed to assassinate because they seem familiar. And I'm not going to spoil it, but this book is like 200 pages. I was riveted. It was so good. So for me, this is like a definite pickup. Definitely pick up this book. It was so good. No words. One of the other books that I read in a physical copy was Tastes Like Shakkar by Nisha Sharma, which is the second book in the If Shakespeare Was an Auntie series, because I'm reading it for book camp. And girl, Nisha Sharma did her big one, because Bunty and Bobby, I thought I was in love with Prim, but Bunty, I get it. The girls that get it. And so I forget which retelling this one is. I want to say it's maybe Not As You Like It, or But You Do About Nothing. I forget which Shakespeare retelling is. I'm going to put it down here once I look it up. But it was hilarious. And Bunty is a chef, and Bobby is an event planner, and particularly a wedding planner. She's wedding planning her best friend's wedding, and there is someone trying to ruin the wedding, child. They are sabotaging the efforts to get this wedding planned without a hitch. And so Bunty and Bobby are trying to figure out who the saboteur is, but also like dealing with their denial of feelings for one another. It is very cute. The banter is like, also, again, Bunty, Benjamin Prada, baby, pick it up. Like Nisha Sharma does her thing. Pick up the whole series. I am looking forward to reading the third book, which I may get to like by January. We'll see what happens, because I'm not even gonna make no plans for December. Like it's been a hard season for reading. So I also read in a physical copy Role Playing by Cathy Yardley, and this was super cute. It was a older, they're like in their 40s romance. They're both extremely nerdy, and they meet over over gaming. It's similar, I won't say D&D, but it's like but it's online gaming D&D style situation. And like their romance is so cute. It also deals with things like divorce and raising an adult child, also with family drama. And, I thought it was incredibly sweet. So I would say pick it up if you are into sort of those nerdy things. I love that the two main characters were also older, because I'm very much into seeing more than like 20-year-olds in romances, because now that I am squarely in my 30s, like some of the things that come up, I'm just like, at 23? Child, I don't think so, because I remember where I was at 23. But anywho, so I loved that they were older. Finally, I read Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. Now, this is a horror book, and I actually really enjoyed it. Now, I will say, it took me a couple of times to get started in the book, but once I was in it, I thought it was super interesting. It's about pretty much like a young lady who's in a cult-like religious community, and she starts having these sort of flashbacks, and they're tied to Camp Damascus, that is like a religion camp, but it has like a very weird and sordid history, and it's got a lot to do with like mental health, conversion therapy, sexuality, things like that. It is super good. I was very surprised by like how the story played out. And so I would say if you are interested in like, if you like horror and you're not deeply triggered by like religious trauma and things like that, pick it up, because I thought it was super interesting. Would I pick it up and read it again? Maybe not. But I did enjoy it for the read that it was. One of the graphic novels that I read this in October was Far Sector, which was written by N.K. Jamison, and I read it because my students read it for my sci-fi and religion class that I'm teaching this semester, and I enjoyed Far Sector. It is a Green Lantern graphic novel, but the Green Lantern is a Black woman, and so it deals with race and class stratifications, as well as, policing and things like that, because she's on this planet as the Green Lantern, and she's trying to figure out what is happening with some of the political things, because there are uprisings and happening because one class or species of people or species on the planet, because there are three, is they are combating things that are happening at the political level, right? And in the class system and sort of the elites. And it's just a lot of like really deep, nuanced storytelling around that, which again, this is relevant right now. But I also enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it even more because of how my students read and interpreted the graphic novel. But it was great. And K. Jamison, wonderful writer. So like, yeah, pick her up. And it's long enough to where you get a full sense of the story. I will say, because the writing is quite small, that sometimes the read of the graphic novel could be a little bit difficult because of that. I have a sort of bigger version of the graphic novels that is in my office. But my colleague who I'm co-teaching the class with, their version was smaller, so it was harder for them to read. So I'm gonna just put that out there, and you do with it what you will. The other books that I read that are sort of academic related, I'm gonna run through them a little bit more quickly, and I read them in hard copy. One was a reread of Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. It is a set of Black feminist essays. If you've never heard of Audre Lorde, she was a Black lesbian feminist scholar and professor. Wonderful set of essays. So I'm reading it for an article that I'm writing. But it was really interesting to get back into it, just where I am in life, and rereading Lorde, reading the Master's Tools Will Not Dismantle the Master's House, as well as the uses of the erotic, and just really rich writing. So for me, that's a definite, I think everybody should read it, because her perspective is just really important in terms of how we view the self, how we sort of navigate issues of sex, of race, of class, of sexuality, and what these things, especially together, how they sort of impact how we move and how we are in conversation with others and with ourselves. So yeah, do Audre Lorde. Always. I also read The Gospel According to James Baldwin, which is by Greg Garrett. And it was okay. Like I said, I'm doing some research, and I'm doing some research around James Baldwin. So this was just another sort of secondary text that I was looking at that was supposed to give a more of a religious biography of Baldwin. I didn't find it super helpful, but it was something I read. So I'll just put it like that. I also read Erotic Defiance by Courtney Bryant, which was actually really beautiful, really beautifully written. And it's a womanist reading of sexuality, pleasure, and the idea of eroticism. And so I thought it was fantastic. It was just released, I think, last year. So Bryant, as a scholar, is sort of contemporary with me. So I thought her read of previous womanists and sort of how she's sort of nuancing to really get into how we talk about sexuality and sensuality from the position of womanist theology. And if you're into theological work and things like that, I think it's a definite read, because I found it very interesting. And again, it's for my research, so I actually did find it quite helpful. For audiobooks, I read A Prayer for the Crown Shy, which is the Monk and Robot novellas, the second one. It was beautiful. I loved it. Seeing how Muscat and Dex continue to navigate as Muscat goes into human communities, and how Dex also navigates where they want to be in life, and how unfulfilled they were in their life as a tea monk, but also journeying and watching Muscat navigate humans as well as them, and their relationship. I thought it was very lovely, very good book. So I would say yes, read it, especially if you're into solar punk and something that's just a softer, more delightful kind of read. It was very easygoing. I also did Conjure Women as an audiobook, and I thought it was really interesting. It was so good. This is a sort of period drama I would say, about it's during the antebellum period, so during enslavement, and then like during Reconstruction. So those two periods, it goes back and forth, and it is about a pretty much a root woman and her living in this this community that is like changing, especially as Black religion and Black preachers, a Black preacher is sort of replacing in many ways the world of Conjure, and people are becoming more, what is the word I'm looking for? People are becoming more weary of Conjure in favor of like Christianity. So that's really interesting. But also the drama, the tea, the intrigue that is surrounding the town and how it stays insular, especially in the midst of Reconstruction, and how that sort of begins to fall apart. Really good. It was really good. So I enjoyed that a lot. Again, if you are into period things and like the idea of hoodoo and conjure, of like dealing things with religion and like family evolution and inheritances, I think it's a good book to read. I enjoyed it in audiobook. I read it during like my walks. For my digital books, I read Little Red and Her Creatures of Chaos by Ames Mills. We love Ames Mills. This one, I kind of is a novella, so it's like under 200 pages. It was just okay. I got through very quickly, maybe because I've read enough of Ames Mills, like I understand like her tropes and how she writes. So I read it very quickly, and it was not my favorite of her books, but it was enjoyable. I read The Necromancer's Bride by Brianna Hale. This one was kind of weird. Like, I don't know that I enjoyed it that much. So this would probably not be one that I would say pick up, but it is about this young lady, and I would say like this, the sort of village she lives in is like, it gives me 13th century vibes, right? And so there is plague, and she's about to die, and a necromancer comes and it's like, hey girl, I'll heal you, but you're gonna be mine. And she's like, ooh, I don't know, I'm gonna do that. And her parents are like, ooh, save my baby. And then she becomes the bride, but also she becomes a pariah in her village. And the necromancer is like, well girl, you can't go back down there. And she's like, I got to, because my sister, I need to make sure that she's okay. And so like, that's sort of the premise, is them like working through, and the curse that like the necromancer is under. Like, I feel like the premise was all right, but I just kind of about the story in and of itself. I read a lot of like shorter works of fiction in October. So one, I read Sinful Vow, which is Mafia Misfits #1 from Asia Monique. I thought it was interesting. It was good. Like, okay, this is another one of my reads for book camp. And so we're reading this series, and it is Black Italian Mafia. And like in the first book, the main character, the female main character, Lucia, she is also like an assassin, and she ends up getting married, like arranged married to a mob boss. I think his name is Dominic or Dante, I forget. And like they get married, they're attracted to each other, but also like there's drama. And then like on his side, their family was sort of outcasted and started their own thing, and the uncle is also an asshole, and he's trying to like keep them under thumb. And it's interesting, but at the same time, like she's a mafia princess, but her dad like actually respects her and like values her as a person, but also it's like, we gotta do this, but also you gotta function in a certain way. And so watching the two of them, Lucia and I want to say Dominic, navigate their relationship and sort of forming an attachment to one another, I thought it was pretty good. It was alright. Would I pick it up again? Probably not, but I enjoyed it. So I also read Trick My Treats, and I'm gonna say that this is gonna be a no for me because I don't remember it. I don't remember what it was about. Which sometimes happens. I also read My Demon Romance, which is part of the Hellbent series. And I love the Hellbent series because and it's by Aurora Ascher. It's demons from hell. If they come to Earth, to human realm, because they're escaping and things like that. So this is like a prequel. And it was super sweet, kind of, but also like very spicy. So like if I had to give a spice, I'd probably give it like 3.5 chili peppers. It was pretty spicy, but it was cute. And because I like the rest of the series, because I've read the rest of the series, I was like, all right, that's a cute little palate cleanser. Oh, I forgot. I also read Plot Twist, which is I read it as an audiobook. It was very cute. It's about a writer who gets caught doing drunk karaoke and talking about she'd never been in love, and it goes viral, and she has like 6 weeks to get her manuscript done, and she's like, I ain't never been in love, I've lost my spark, all these things happening, and she falling for her landlord, which is her best friend's brother, who's also a former child actor who went away from acting because he's a recovering alcoholic. And so you have family drama as his family's trying to get him back into the limelight. He don't want to be there. He's trying to figure out what his life is going to be like. And he has feelings for his best friend. And they end up, helping one another out. He helps her with her social media presence. She helps him to write a speech for his dad, who's getting like a star on the Walk of Fame or something. It's very cute. I enjoyed it a lot. So pick that one up. I also finished the Bonds' Dissolution Omegaverse, the third book, The Heat of Us, which was about Juno's best friend. And I thought it was great. It was very lovely. All the men, chef's kiss. Female main character, badass. I don't remember her name at the moment. Hazel. That's what her name is, I believe. Hazel is badass. We love her. She's a sex worker. We love sex workers. And she is pretty much trying to take her life for herself. But the drama in it, her family, child, oh my God, I'm not even gonna spoil it. Pick it up, because girl, I was just like, oh, that's crazy. Her family, the family's in it, like, man. Give it up to Eliana Lee. She did her big one when it came to writing just like absolutely bonkers family members and people having to overcome being with those kind of pressures, especially in this sort of universe that she's created around like Alpha and Omega's bonds. So yeah, trying to tell you, that was a good one. Okay, so for November, one of the books that I read in hard copy, which is not sitting in my stack, it's probably back on the bookshelf, is Hex and the Single Girl. Like, I read Hex and the Single Girl yearly around Halloween. It is so cute. It's about a witch who, she has like this capability, like she just has very keen senses, as well as she can transmit images over short distances to people. And so she uses that to matchmake for people or to facilitate first dates for women. And baby, this shit goes awry because she gets contracted by this like high-powered executive that's trying to land this first date because she done fell in love with this. And the dude's a millionaire and fancy, and like he's like a computer software designer, some shit. And she's like, oh, I'm so in love with him. Come to find out, she's just trying to secure the bag. And so Emma gets involved, in even knowing like intuitively something ain't right. And so she gets involved. But the gag is she ends up like accidentally kissing William, who's her mark, when she's on a date, because there's a whole like thing, it's shenanigans. And so now she's dealing with the fact that she's got to secure her bag because she about to lose her very nice apartment working for Daphne, and Daphne is a evil. Come find out. And so, but also the fact that like Emma deals with like the fact that she can transmit these images. Sometimes she can't control, especially when she like has sex. But turns out William is the only one that gets her brain clear. So it's a whole lot of shenanigans. It's such a cute book. Like the fact that I misplaced my copy and rebought it and I read it every year goes to show how much I really enjoy this book. So I think it's super cute. Again, if you're into any of these things, to me, it's a definite pick this up and read it. Okay. So like I said, I've been doing research on James Baldwin. So I reread James Baldwin's God by Clarence Hardy. And pretty much it's just a argument around like how James Baldwin situates religion, particularly Black holiness culture, sex and love and like all of these things. I have been reading this, like I've used this book multiple times. And I think it's a really interesting argument. Would I suggest it for other people to read? Sure. If you're into any of these things, like if you're into Baldwin, if you've read Baldwin and you're into like academic things, yeah, for sure, pick it up. But like if you're just here for vibes, I probably wouldn't pick this up. Like this is very particular to me, of course. Okay. I also read Love in Color by Balu Babalola, who wrote Honey and Spice. I have not read Honey and Spice, but I picked this up because these are like retellings of international women characters and like reimagined love stories. I thought it was quite cute. Would I pick it up again? Probably not. But I thought it was interesting, especially the way she reimagines things like Scheherazade and Nefertiti and like Oshun and things like that in various sometimes contemporary settings. So I thought it was super cool, especially if you want to read something, want to enjoy something, want something kind of lighthearted. It's not spicy. Then I would pick this up because you can finish it pretty quickly, and it's like short stories, so it's like you can have the sensation of finishing things quickly. So yeah, I thought this was super sweet. I also read finished The House of Marion by J.L. I read this as an audiobook, but I also have the hard copy. It was so good. Oh my God, the intrigue. It was so good. This is about a girl named Kel who has magic, but she has forbidden magic. So she's been on the run with her mama for years, and they almost get caught by this like secret society that hunts down people like her so that their magic doesn't spread because they don't understand how to control it. And so she ends up at her grandmother's, who's the headmistress of one of the 4 houses that produce magical peoples, and it's like debutantes and things like that. Child, this plot twist though, my God today. It was to the point where I immediately put the second one in my Libby to read. It was like, because I'm like, that's where you gonna end, girl? Damn. It was very good. I also read The Shifter Bachelor by Shy August. I met Shy at Blurred Fest in May and got her first book, and I finally got around to reading it. I thought it was cute. I think that the world that she's building is interesting, and it was enough to keep me interested to see like who the antagonist actually was. Will I continue the series? I'm not sure. I just thought it was kind of okay. But you know, like Black women authors, I'm a supporter. So yeah, for me personally, it was an okay book. Would I suggest it? Maybe. It was just for me, but I do love the world that she is trying to construct. It's very interesting. One of the graphic novels that I read this in November was Sign of Affection, Book 8. Child, they trying to live together. You know, we love Sign of Affection. I haven't watched the manga, but I haven't watched the anime, but the manga, she's so cute. She's so cute. And so the other two books that I read in hard copy. I'm gonna speed through them because I'm gonna do a longer video about some of my nonfiction reads, especially things like this. So I read Loving Corrections by Adrienne Marie Brown, who also wrote Emergent Strategy and Pleasure Activism. I thought it was very good. This was, she writes it in ruminations and essays and spells. Like it's an interesting read. So I would say definitely pick it up, especially if you're interested in understanding like being in right relationship with people and the earth and like, yeah. So it was good. I also read The Sovereignty of Quiet by Kevin Kwashi. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. Oh, this was so lovely. Oh, this was beautiful. And it's talking about Black interiority and like thinking beyond what resistance means in Black culture and like sort of the public facing part of it. I enjoyed this so much. It gave me so many things to think about. So like I said, we're gonna have a longer conversation about that one. Audiobooks. I read Butcher and Blackbird as an audiobook. Fantastic. It was so good. Such a good time. It's about killers. It's about murderers. So and it's spicy. So be mindful. But the audio performance of it was stellar. Rowan's audio reader, my God, today. Woo! Yes. So I would say pick up Butcher and Blackbird. It was a great time. It was weird. And you might like accidental cannibalism. So just like read the triggers. I also read the second book in the Cocky Kingman series, The Winner Across the Way. Declan. Woo. Declan. So this one is like, it was cute because it's a sort of loose reimagining of like Taylor Swift and what's his name? Whatever her boyfriend's name is, the football player. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's cute. So it's like that, but she's plus sized and like, it's very sweet. And there's a wiener dog in it. So yeah, totally read it. I enjoyed listening to the audiobook. I read Spin About You by Brianna Dene, which is Thanksgiving. It's about a Friendsgiving, and these two people meet at Friendsgiving. It's cute. It's like 56 pages. It's all right. Like if you need a quick little palate cleanser, I'd say read it. I also listened to Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. And again, killers, stalking. But the audio performance was great. So yeah, like be mindful of the trigger warnings. But I had a great time. Okay, y'all. So those are the books I read in October and November. As always, friends, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend about the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.